you're an avid waterfowl hunter like me, you always look forward to the regular duck season opener, but this September teal season is really an opportunity to kind of get a jump on duck season, and it's the first time you've done any waterfowl hunting since January the previous year, so a lot of anticipation and excitement going into this hunt every year.
Just I'll let you have the shot. I'll let you shoot first.
Well, I mean, he was flying. I was going to grab him.
We have a special teal season because blue-winged teal are an early migrating duck. They migrate, start heading south way earlier than most other duck species. And so it's really about the only time where most of us throughout the country can have an opportunity to harvest blue-winged teal.
It was a beautiful morning, temperatures in the low 60s, bright sun, rosy dawn on the horizon. And that's one of the great things about the early September teal season is shooting time is actually at sunrise. So you get in position and you really have a lot of time to kind of enjoy the show as the sun's coming up, the birds flying around, get an idea of what the flight patterns are going to be with the wind conditions and other weather conditions that day.
You know, it's tough. The earlier you get, the lower the light. It can be really hard sometimes.
Non-target.
It starts each day at sunrise to allow folks to better identify legal species, which are only blue-wing and green-winged teal.
Shoot the duck. There you go.
I think it's more, duck hunting in general is of course known as a more social type of hunting activity, and I think it's a little more so even with teal hunting.
Low base 6. Steel number 7s. That's all we need.
It is a weird hybrid between dove and duck hunting. You can literally stand there and you don't have to worry about how you're shining either. They just don't react the way any other birds are. Is it a big question about pressure? Maybe. But it's kind of interesting how they don't care much at all.
You're not all bundled up trying to stay warm. You know, you're not dealing with a lot of gear. You don't need to take long boat rides somewhere. You know, that kind of stuff is not happening here. You're wearing shorts under waders, short sleeve shirt if you want. They're not a very wary bird when they're moving around this time of year. And you can get away with a lot, I guess, is a short way to say that. You can typically find teal in some sort of shallow habitat. They do seem to move down permanent water bodies like river corridors that have water they can count on during this early migration period, and then they'll find shallow water off of those migration corridors.
Blue-wing, green-wing teal. Blue wings are really focusing on a lot of some seeds, a lot of bugs, a lot of invertebrates, and they do browse on some aquatic vegetation.
They do seem to get keyed in on those spots that do have reliable water from year to year and keep coming back over and over again. But it's not just limited to those places, because you can have teal show up if we have one of those places where a hurricane comes through and puts a lot of shallow water across the landscape for a few days. You'll typically be able to find teal in a lot of those places. So they're definitely moving and searching.
Man could find some opportunity in almost any little mud hole. It does not take much to have a good teal hunt. It really doesn't.
I've hunted in this area a number of times over the past few years. I've seen more birds, I've seen fewer birds. It was kind of in the middle this time, but they were flying well enough that it didn't take us long to get a couple of limits in the boat. I was pretty fortunate and had some good shooting on this particular morning.
Yep, good shell. I told y'all.
And so I tagged out, and Forrest Talley, one of our videographers and editors for the show, tagged in.
All right, Forrest.
And he's a relatively new waterfowl hunter, went on his first duck hunt last duck season, so it was a little bit of a steep learning curve for him.
You know, I don't really know what was going on that day. It didn't really work out for me shooting-wise. So, you know, I had a new gun and was with people that, you know, my boss and chief of wildlife and stuff like that. So, trying to impress and didn't really work out very well.
A lot of pressure.
You know, once I finally started shooting some birds, it was a really good time.
Oh! Yeah! Oh, Kelly!
There's nothing like being able to harvest your own meat and be out there and enjoy the weather and the environment. Those birds are they're fun to shoot, and teal are a lot faster than those birds in the timber. So it was a fun experience and a lot of fun to get out there and be able to do that.
It was a great morning to get out and enjoy the Arkansas outdoors. The blue-winged teal were pretty cooperative. Our shooting wasn't bad. Just a fantastic way to scratch that waterfowl itch before the regular duck season opens.